We see from the mitzvah of chinok that preparation for the mitzvah is part of the mitzvah. So when a child becomes 13, there's no mitzvah of chinok. Duraisa, it's only the rabbanon. All the halacha sefer says so. So copy duraisa, the child can be 13 and not know how to do anything. Therefore, the time that he's spending, mitasek b'mitzvah, he's doing the mitzvah. That's called doing the mitzvah. So, for example, if you find chometz on Pesach, if you're mitasek in the mitzvah of removing the chometz, so you're working on removing the chometz, so therefore you're not over that avera of having chometz in Pesach. But if you're not doing the mitzvah, even though the chametz is still there, so in both cases the chametz is still there. One, you're doing the mitzvah of removing it, so therefore that's called, it's not in your rishus. But if you're just not doing the mitzvah, so therefore it's called, it is your rishus. So being metasek in the mitzvah is doing the mitzvah. Therefore, when the child is 13, he is doing the mitzvah, even though he doesn't know anything. Right? Since he's potter till he's 13, he can't have a chesron, he can't have a lack because he didn't prepare himself. Because the whole preparation is part of the mitzvah, but he's potter, so therefore now he's 13. In the deraisa ideas, even though now he has to do all the mitzvahs, he's no idea what to do because he hasn't learned, he hasn't prepared, he doesn't know what the mitzvahs are. But now that he's learning the mitzvahs once he's 13, so therefore that's called he's doing the mitzvah. And therefore he's basically still potter from the mitzvahs until he learns them. So then there's a mitzvah derabbanan that you should, when the time he's 13, you should know what to do. So we see by Abraham that when he was there's different shitas as to when he found God. It was 3, it was 40, it was 48. So it says that that all the days of Abraham he was involved with God. So how could this be if he, by the time he's 48, what the hell was he doing up to then? He wasn't doing mitzvahs then. But yet that's called his whole days. Because it takes time for Abraham when he's born into a world, chinok shenishpo, whatever it is born into a world where God is not revealed. And therefore he has to work out where God is. He has to work himself out. He has to bring himself to a place in which he can be an Oved Hashem. So all that time he's Isaac in the mitzvahs. So even though he's not doing the mitzvahs, because he doesn't know what to do, or he's not interested in them, or he hasn't built that relationship with God, so even though all that time he's not doing the mitzvahs, since he is working out, what the hell am I doing here? That's all called, he's asik b'mitzvah. He's doing the mitzvah. So he's been mitasik in the mitzvah. Therefore, even though he's not doing stuff, it's not called that he's chesron. There's no lack in there whatsoever. So even though you're not doing mitzvahs, even though you could be doing averas, you could do, but all this is part of finding your relationship with God, finding God and finding where you fit into the whole space of the world. So therefore, when you're working on that, even if you're doing mitzvahs, not doing mitzvahs, that's still called doing the mitzvahs. Therefore, Abraham gets babiyam. Everything that he's doing in his life is bringing him to this point of which now he can be an Eved Hashem. So all the time of being a Baal Tshuva, all the time, it's not that, well, I wasn't doing mitzvahs, now I'm doing mitzvahs. No, the fact that you're doing it varies, and the fact that you're seeing that if I don't have God, if I don't have that relationship with God, my whole life is meaningless and worthless. Coming to that realization is part of the mitazik of the mitzvah of coming to the realization that now I can have a relationship with God and I can do the mitzvahs. So it could even be that even if you're doing the mitzvahs, you're doing the mitzvahs because someone told you to. You're doing the mitzvahs because you're trying to get validation from other people. So here you're not actually having it's part of the process of you to getting there. And even though it's like, oh, look at me, I'm doing the mitzvahs. In a way, you're not doing the mitzvahs. You're physically doing them. You're doing them for outside reasons because you want other people to make you feel. You want God to feel your depressions and your feelings, but that's bringing you on the path. As long as it's on the path of that, you will actually find that relationship. You will find God, and you'll be able to do the mitzvahs properly. So you can call that you're doing the mitzvahs.